Good morning, Villa fans, and welcome to a match preview for Brentford versus Aston Villa on Saturday. Again, tea time, 5:30 kickoff, I believe, at the GTech Stadium. So really wanted to sort of jump on and talk about this game, reflect a little bit on the sort of Club Brugge win as well, and sort of the selection kind of dilemma that we have, I suppose. You know, Asensio coming off the bench again and scoring. Is he now definitely due a start? Ollie Watkins didn't have his best game against Bruges again. Largely kind of anonymous, really. Didn't really get involved in it too much. I think the defenders of Club Bruges handled him pretty well. Is it time for the man in your picture here, Malen, who's obviously not available and not in the squad for Champions League, to get a start? And maybe give Watkins a little bit of a break and just take him out the firing line. There are reasons for playing Watkins in this game, absolutely, which I'll come on to later on. And there are reasons that maybe we can bring in someone fresh like Daniel Marlon, who has a point to prove, who I'm sure will be chomping at the bit to get going at Villa, and maybe sort of starting him ahead of Ollie Watkins, perhaps. But yeah, let's have a look at the game. Obviously, Club Brugge game, just very, very quickly. I'm still absolutely buzzing from the result. 3-1 victory away. But please do, have caution there because it is only half time in the tie, and Villa have this horrendous record of conceding from the first shot on target. God forbid that happens at Villa Park, because you'll be biting your fingernails watching the game through your fingers, wouldn't you, really? So hopefully Villa can get the first goal in that tie next Wednesday and really just put the game to bed, because I feel as though if Villa do score early on, then that's going to be Club Brugge deflated, the game and the tie wrapped up. So we need a fast start there on Wednesday. And we have had a fast start in the Champions League. I think we're the only team that have scored 3 goals in the opening 3 minutes of matches in the Champions League. So we scored early on against RB Leipzig when Ollie Watkins scored after John McGinn scored after Ollie Watkins set him up against RB Leipzig. I think that was after about 2 minutes. And then obviously Morgan Rogers getting on the score sheet against Celtic, very early doors there, a Jacob Ramsey cutback. And then obviously in this one, Leon Bailey getting on the end of Tyrone Mings' knockdown and, slamming the ball home in the 2nd minute, I think it was. But 3 goals in the opening 3 minutes of Champions League means that we are kind of fast starters, and we need to make sure that we are doing that again. But, Club Brugge got their goal through, again, probably their first shot on target. So, just always have to be wary about that. But looking ahead to Brentford, Saturday, obviously, we've got 10 games left of this Premier League season. I did do a video last week about predicting the last 10 league game results. I might change from those predictions, given sort of what team news is available, what kind of form teams are in. And, in my prediction then, I actually did predict Brentford to win this game 2-1. That was obviously off the back of the Palace game, maybe feeling a little bit low. But, I might look to change that. Obviously, now I've done a bit of homework and looked at the head-to-head previous meetings form. So there might be a bit of a change in the predicted scoreline for myself on that one. But let's look at Brentford, sitting in 11th position, 1 place below us, 4 points below. So we need to basically make sure that they're not going to be closing the gap if they win this game to 1 point. But they're sitting in 11th, 27 games into their season. 11 wins, 5 draws, and 11 losses. So, they tend to win or lose games more or less. Plus five goal difference as well. So more in a healthier position than we are. And also they are the 6th highest goal scorers in the Premier League with 48 goals. So might be surprising a few people there, but they do know where the back of the net is. They do get goals. And if Wissa and Mbuemo, are on form, which they have been, then they are a dangerous, dangerous team. But I get the feeling it is literally those two who are getting the goals for them, and goals aren't coming from any other kind of areas that much, really. So as long as we can stop Wissa and Mbuemo, which we did at Villa Park in the reversed fixture, then that's going to be the key to getting something at the GTech on Saturday. Last 5 results for Brentford: 1-1 draw against Everton, Wissa scoring in that one. 4-0 win against Leicester. Leicester were dead and buried by about half time, I think. Wissa Mbuemo, Norgard, and Fabio Carvalho getting on the score sheet there. And then they had a 1-0 win against West Ham at the London Stadium, where Kevin Sade scored for them. That was before that was a 2-0 defeat to Tottenham. And then in the last game of this 5-game sequence was a 2-1 win against Crystal Palace. Mbuemo and Sade getting on the score sheet there. So, so they've got, in the last 5 games, Sade's got 2, Mbuemo's got 2, Wissa's got 2. So, those are the threats there. Those are the big threats. Injury news wise from the Brentford side, obviously, Emery hasn't done a press conference for the Villa team, but injury wise for them, Norgard is doubtful. He's got a head injury. He could be back for this, but he's doubtful. Same goes for Rico Henry, who we've been linked with in the past. Aaron Hickey is out of this game as well. And the defender Van der Berger is also a doubt, but could be back in time for the game, but he's a doubt as well. As I said about the goals at Brentford, it's either Mbuemo or Wissa, and Brian Mbuemo is having a fantastic season for them. 15 goals in 31 appearances in all competitions this season. And I wouldn't say he plays as a striker. He sort of plays kind of floating. I think Wissa plays as more as the striker. So 15 goals is a really, really good, really good achievement this season. And he's been flying. I think he's in most people's fantasy Premier teams, fantasy dream teams, including mine. And then you got Johan Wissa as well, who's amongst the goals, 14 goals in 28 appearances this season. So he knows where the back of the net is. And, we've played them last season as well. And I'll look at that result in a moment. And then Kevin Sade, as well as the other young, I think he's German, 8 goals and 32 appearances. But he knows, where the back of the net is. He's got excellent pace, offers good width on that side. And, if you've not got, a quick fullback to mark him, you can easily skin them and get away. So he's going to be a danger as well. So those are the 3 dangers. Obviously, they've got people like Damsgaard, Norgard, who are dangerous from the midfield side of it. But I do think their centre-backs, I think they can be got at. I don't think they're very good defensively. They've got Collins at the back. I think it's Neil Collins. Is it Nathan Collins? Not sure. Neil Collins, Nathan Collins. Don't know. Collins at the back with Pinnock, who, they're not a solid partnership. I definitely think they can be got at. And if you look at them past sort of 3 meetings with Brentford, so obviously earlier this season, we ran out 3-1 winners at Villa Park with Rodgers getting a goal, Watkins getting a goal, and then Matty Cash getting a goal kind of late in the first half. I think we were 3-0 up at that point. But no, not 3-1. I think they got it back to 1-1. But anyway, it was a 3-1 win for Villa, quite comfortable. And I felt as though we came out the blocks really quickly in that game. And I think that's what we need to do again, sort of be on the front foot against these guys, get their defenders turned, and really sort of put our emphasis on the game. They've got a good home record. They are good at the GTech, but they're not unbeatable. And then if you're looking at last season's results against Brentford, a 3-3 draw at Villa Park. We all kind of remember that, sort of going, I think it was 3-0 ahead. Watkins getting 2. Rodgers, that was his first goal for Villa. When he sort of cut inside, rolled it under the sole of his foot, and then found the bottom corner. I think that was his first goal for Villa. And then in the reverse fixture at the GTech last season, we did win 2-1 as well. Alex Moreno equalising after I think Kane Lewis Potter had scored on the stroke of half time. So Moreno getting onto the score sheet from the back post, I think it was a delivery in, and then Ollie Watkins getting on the score sheet. I think it was from a corner, flicked on, and then Watkins literally was a yard out and managed to sort of head it home, I think it was. And he was being goaded by obviously the home support, former team and all that sort of stuff. And he enjoyed that celebration by sort of, pointing at the person that was giving him stick throughout the game. But Watkins has got 4 goals in his last 3 games against Brentford. So this is a reason perhaps to play him, because he knows how to find the back of the net against Brentford. He's obviously got that little bit of fire in his belly, being a former team of his. Hasn't been on the best kind of form. Obviously, Club Bruges didn't get on the score sheet, didn't play too well. I think I gave him a 5 out of 10. I think most podcasts were kind of critical of his performance as well. Again, against Cardiff, didn't get on the score sheet there either. Down to Asensio to score 2 of them for us. And obviously against Chelsea, didn't score there either. So it's it's just proving a little bit. He's going through a little bit of a rut. And obviously in the Club Brugge game, we didn't have Daniel Malen available. That wasn't an option for us. Rashford, for me, I don't want to see him playing as a 9. So I think that Malen and Watkins are the 2 kind of striker options. I think Rashford is much better kind of coming from the left. Team lineup wise, if you're asking me for a predicted lineup for this game, I think we're going Emi Martinez in goal. Right back, we've got Andres Garcia back for this as well. And he can't play on Tuesday. Does Matty Cash need to continue a little bit of recovery, come on as an impact sub? I thought Matty Cash has done well when he's come off the bench, actually. He came on against Liverpool and showed a lot of energy getting forward, and obviously came on against Club Brugge and came on and won the penalty late on as well. So maybe starting someone like Andres Garcia in this game. Even though Disasi did all right and is still available for this one as well, it did all right at right back, doesn't give you much kind of going forward. So it might be a game play Andres Garcia. I think you go Ezri Konsa at centre-back for sure. I know Tyrone Mings has probably just come back off a man-of-the-match performance against Club Brugge and was fantastic. But again, we have to watch the injury of him and use him very carefully. These 2 games are going to be in sort of quick succession. Is there much recovery time? How is the knees feeling? How is the muscles feeling? So it might be a chance to play Disasi with Konsa at centre-back and just give Mings that little bit of rest, a bit of recovery time, maybe again to go again on Wednesday. So I would go with Konsa and Disasi. And then the left-back, obviously Digne has played there and done really well. I think if we're going Garcia on the right, who tends to like to get forward, I think we need someone that's going to be a little bit more defensively minded. So I would go Luca Digne for this over Martson to begin with. And then in front of that, I don't know how close Onana and Barkley are to returning. Doesn't look like they'll be back for this game. So it looks like we just go again. There's obviously the option of Lamar Bogard coming in perhaps, but I would go with John McGinn and Tielemans again as the sort of the 2 in midfield. Boubacar Kamara came on and really changed the game for us against Club Brugge as well. Could he get a start? If he is fit to start, then I would absolutely start him. And then maybe give McGinn a little bit of a rest in this game and play Kamara and Tielemans. But it all depends on Kamara's fitness levels. Can he start? Is he going to be a finisher? But I think he'd be an excellent player to have as a starting option, because I think he just gives us that extra, solidity in midfield, doesn't venture too far forward. And also, I like the way, as I mentioned in my previous video, that he sort of drops into a back 3, which allows the likes of Garcia to get forward on the right-hand side. And he's just excellent to watch. Every time he gets the ball, he seems to create a bit of space, nice little pass, doesn't overdo it. It was his pass into Rodgers that forced the own goal for the Club Brugge defender. So if Kamara is fit, he comes in for me, and I rest McGinn for this one. And then in front of that, this is obviously where the competition is rife at the moment. And you've got the likes of Ramsey coming off the bench and really changing things against Bruges. Morgan Rodgers has had a good record against Brentford as well in the last couple of games here. Played better from the right. Asensio has come off the bench and, scored again and nearly scored from open play as well. Looks dangerous. Rashford's obviously there. Marlon is there. Bailey is there. You've got McGinn that could play further forward if you wanted him to. So all of a sudden you've got 7 or 8 kind of players that could play anywhere along that sort of supporting cast of the striker. So for me, I'm going with Rashford on the left. I'm going with Asensio in the 10, and I'm going with Rodgers on the right. So we're going to be using sort of Rashford as the wide option really in this one. And then you've got Bailey from the bench. You'll have Ramsey off the bench. And for me, I'm just about going to give Ollie Watkins the nod for this one, just given his record against Brentford. And I think Marlon to come on, on the hour mark or something like that if Watkins isn't quite having a good game. But I would go with Ollie Watkins up front. So Rashford, Asensio, and Rodgers for me as a supporting cast. And then you've got really good sort of subs there. You've got Cash as a sub, Martson, perhaps McGinn, perhaps if Kamara's playing. Then you've got Bailey, you've got Ramsey, you've got Marlon. You've got some really good options there coming off the bench. And all of a sudden, we're looking a hell of a lot stronger. So that would be my kind of team lineup. Giving Watkins the benefit of the doubt here. But if he doesn't deliver after like 60 minutes, then it's a straight swap for Marlon for me. And give Marlon sort of half an hour or so against this tiring Brentford backline, hopefully. Score prediction-wise, yeah, going to be a tough game. Brentford always is, home or away. I think we need to, keep that gap at sort of 4 points at least. I don't think we want to lose this game. It's going to be difficult. I said 2-1 to Brentford earlier in my previous video. I'm going with a 2-2 draw on this one now. I think Villa can go there and get something. The defense for Brentford does look susceptible, and I think our attacking threat that we have now, whether it's the starters or the finishers, are going to be really hot to handle. I think we might go behind in this game. It might take the subs to come on and influence the game from the bench, but I do think we'll get something at the GTech. But we've got to watch Wissa and Mbuemo. If they go into a two-goal lead, then it's be difficult to put it back from that. But I'm going with Brentford 2, Aston Villa 2, and just to add another point onto the board. If you give me a point now, I'll take it. If you give me 3, I'll be absolutely delighted. But guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your score predictions in the comments. Let me know your predicted lineup. Who you're going to go with as the striker? Who's going to go with as a supporting cast behind that? Is it time for Garcia to come back in? Does Kamara get in? Does Mings need that kind of rest, or do you continue playing him? I don't want to keep playing him until he gets injured. And if you've got Disassi available, why not play him? That's what he's been bought in for. So, guys, let me know your thoughts. Do subscribe. Let's have a like target of 20 on this one. Let's get some comments going. Up the Villa, and hopefully we're celebrating 3 points at the GTech come Saturday evening. Until then, guys, enjoy your working week. Bye-bye.